Hello everybody, Eddie here, and today we are going to yap about the newly released Super Mario Galaxy movie. And I'll start off by saying the only Mario game that I've played front to back is Mario 64, sunk a bazillion hours into that as a kid. I guess I dabbled in things like Donkey Kong and Smash Bros as well as the original Super Mario Bros at some point, but in terms of Mario specific games, my knowledge is extremely limited. I will say though, one of these days, this channel will randomly have a review come out titled Paper Mario Review. I don't even know if the game's good. I just remember seeing ads for it on the 3DS as a kid, and I wanted the hell out of that game. But you know, as a kid, you only get one new game per year, or two, like your birthday and Christmas, and I had to go with Pokemon. I'm sorry, Paper Mario. I was too busy playing Pokemon White 2 before ever playing Pokemon Black or White. I should also apologize to Pokemon while I'm at it because of that. Look, it's the past. I've played all the Pokemon games now multiple times. In fact, I'm literally replaying Gen 5 as we speak. And not just Black and White. Not just Black and White too. I've been grinding Pokemon Rumble Blast. But I'm gonna need a new game to grind while I'm walking on the treadmill or Stairmaster soon. And while I'm thinking about it, Paper Mario could be a good candidate for that. Basically, any handheld game is really good for cardio, not running obviously, but you know, walking or something slow like that, as long as the controls are easy enough. We'll have to see. I got the 3DS right here, or not the 3DS, sorry, I got the 2DS on here, the new 2DS, which I love, by the way. It's a pretty cheap alternative to the 3DS, but not as quite as blocky and small as the original 2DS, which is still valid. I have one of those as well. It's good for trading and cheap entry point, but that's not even in the script. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I would love to play that game, so I'm glad I thought of it while writing the script, because definitely gonna grind that out at some point. But back to the movie. Obviously, being a sequel to the 2023 film, and that first movie was definitely better than I thought it would have been going into it. And with this new one, having zero of the conversation questioning Chris Pratt's ability to voice act Mario, I took that as a good sign. You know, no major talking points going in, just, oh, new Mario, oh, snap. So I was looking forward to this even more. Especially due to my limited knowledge, it's like, what could happen? I have no clue, no guesses, no expectations or anything like that as a fan. It is kind of weird watching a movie like this without knowing shit about what it's adapting, or at least naming itself after, because from what I've heard, it doesn't really adapt Super Mario Galaxy, but whatever. But I was ready to hop in because of that. It's like, I don't have stakes in this. I am watching this like most of the population for once. Normally, I'm the guy that has knowledge of a media adaptation going into it on some level, but in this case, I'm just like your average moviegoer that doesn't engage with the video games. So my perspective on this might be a little different than what you're expecting or what I would normally say. I don't know. Let's get into it though. Immediately found myself crushing on Rosalina. Absolute beautiful, enchanting design. I love her. But I will not let that love blind my thoughts on this movie. We'll start with the positives, because my opinion on this movie is kind of... Let's start with the positives, which there is plenty, to be fair. First off, I had lots of fun watching this movie. You know, it was a fun time, and there's plenty of reasons why. I think aesthetically it's pleasing. Locations and settings all look really good. Mario's always been very imaginative, even only with 64 knowledge. Just look at all the areas in that game's paintings. There's a lot of just cool sets. And yeah, they knocked out of the park here. Another easy slam dunk for them in this movie is the music. It all sounds really good. Lots of bangers in that soundtrack. Now for an actual story positive, I like the attempted themes and parallels this movie has to offer when it comes to familial bonds. Mario and Luigi share a healthy relationship, kind of the standard, or what you would hope to be the standard. As someone who didn't live, as someone who grew up in a bit more toxic environment, it's kind of hard to tell. But, you know, I would like to think that that's what a healthy relationship looks like. The sisters, for the sake of spoilers, I will not be saying exactly who those sisters are, but I'm sure the cat's out of the bag already, but I don't know. If you haven't seen it, then I don't want to say anything. They have a broken relationship out of circumstance, while Bowser and Bowser Jr. have this distorted view on the matter. And while the movie doesn't go out of its way to be super in-depth or anything, it is nice that there is still clear, repetitive themes and narrative foundations present between its main characters, something that kind of ties their arcs together somewhat, you know? Next, anytime they did a reference to gameplay, I thought it was really nice. Hell, the first movie already did this really well with the Mario Kart moment or the Mario training montage, but they went pretty crazy here too. There's a couple scenes where, I don't know, Mario's fighting, and on the big villain screen, Bowser and Bowser Jr. are looking at it, and they're like, oh shit, but on the screen it looks like the game, as opposed to the movie version. I just think working the game mechanics into this film without interrupting it too much, like, yeah, it's obviously a reference, but it doesn't seem like the scenes are built specifically to make the reference, unlike a lot of things in this movie that have references in them, but we'll talk about that later, because we are talking strictly about gameplay references, not the million other references this movie has. And obviously, the next thing that's worth praising, the animation. This movie looks good. Really freaking good. Enough said. Next, let's get on to some characters. Let's talk about that. Yippee. Mario and Luigi got great chemistry. There's some hints at an arc for Mario and his romantic endeavors, but it doesn't have a clear evolution. Well, it does have a clear evolution, but it's not as big of a deal in this movie as you think it's going to be going in, which is okay. I wish it was more explored or more touched upon, but you can always save that for whenever. Besides that, Mario's pretty static, which is fine as well. It's Mario. Status quo is going to stay the same most of the time, and Luigi is still Luigi. But like I said, it's nice seeing them together because I sadly mostly know Mario without a Luigi. When I say 64, I'm not talking about the DS version. I'm pretty sure he's in that version, right? Nah, I got the Nintendo 64 one. Just Mario, Bowser, Peach, some villains. But now I really get to see them as brothers, so that's cool. And speaking of Peach, there's also Peach, who's still Peach, and that's fine. I like Peach, especially this version, who's not just like, Mario, come save me. She gets shit done, so I always like that about her. They introduced Yoshi, who not only sounded really good, I love his voice, but was quite entertaining and cuteness personified. Bounced really well off of Luigi and Mario, and yeah, definitely one of my favorite characters of the film, despite being more of a mascot. Served his role well. They also introduced Bowser Jr., who I thought had a really strong introduction. I also thought he looked cool with the bandana and the colors when he was fighting. Like, his actual power is really cool. But at the end of the movie, he is just kind of there. But so are most of the characters. At least he got some aura farming in while he could. Speaking of aura, there was a cameo I didn't fucking know about that now I come to find out everybody else knew about, but I didn't. And that's Fox McCloud. Isn't that crazy? I thought it was. I was so fucking shocked. Turns out the fucking Nintendo themselves posted it. But I guess it was because it got leaked. So they meant for it to be a surprise, but they fucked up. So I got the intended experience, bitch. It's funny how the non-Mario character gets more character than a lot of the Mario characters in this movie. But whatever. Yeah, I thought he was pretty cool. And one of the references that actually mattered in this movie. He is still very much used to get movie from point A to point B without too many hiccups, but yeah, I'm happy he's there. I'm not sure what else to say about that. I thought that was fan service done fine. I don't know though. Like I said, I don't have much of an opinion on things that I'm not too well versed about the characters on. This is my opinion as an outsider, a dirty outsider. But let's move on to my favorite and least favorite character here. Bowser, because I was both most pleased and most displeased by him, because this movie, if you haven't seen it, it introduces this concept of Bowser on his redemption arc. You know, he still has outbursts every now and then, but he's really trying. But you think, obviously, this is just a ploy so he can get big again, because in the last movie they made him small, and so he can escape and become a villain again. So while yes, it initially reads as another silly joke that will obviously get reversed at some point, they lean into it for way longer than you think, to the point where you start to actually believe him. He literally makes a choice about halfway through the movie or so that kind of confirms like he's actually trying his best to be a good guy now, which just makes it all the more sad when he flips back to being villain Bowser without much resistance. Light spoilers there, but like I said, you can kind of guess he's not going to be good forever. And no, I never thought that even though he was actually trying to be good here in the moment, that he was never going to go back to being a villain. I just wish it wasn't like a flip of a switch. I really wish he struggled more before becoming a bad guy again. That would have been perfect. At least a little bit of that moral dilemma, or even like post becoming a villain again, kind of struggling before fighting Mario or remembering some times. No, he just goes right back into, yep, status quo. So he could have been the best character here, bar none, but literally everything is reduced, backtracked in actual seconds. And like I said, they don't even attempt to go like, well, damn, Mario, fuck, this is going to be hard, but I got to kill you. I think there is one line like that kind of, but I don't know. I don't really feel that. For a positive, though, I do like the trope of villain characters being good dads or loving the shit out of their kids. That always hits me right in the childhood. Now, story. Ooh. The story. It feels like every single scene after a certain point was all part of a checklist. Rushing through each thing to get to a specific point and technically tie everything together in some fashion, but as minimal and bare bones as possible. Everything is really convenient. Even the moments where there are obstacles or hiccups, it's still very much everything's gonna work out. Let's get to the next scene already. I don't know how to put it into words, but I feel like you probably know what I mean if you've seen the movie. Another thing in the film I want to touch on is that there is a big reveal about the relatedness of two characters. Spoilers ahead. Skip to the timestamp on the screen if you don't want to hear about it. I'm assuming it's a big enough reveal to warrant this warning, so just come back if you don't want to hear it. Specifically, Peach and Rosalina. Now, I've never played the game, so it doesn't bother me, but for better or worse, them being sisters is the default to me now. I don't even know what they are in the games. I'll have to search it up real quick. Hold on. I can't imagine what else they'll be besides like cousins or just unrelated. That'd be kind of crazy. Peach and Rosalina game. Okay, first thing that pops up is a Reddit thing saying, well, this is certainly a choice of all time. So Peach and Rosalina are siblings all of a sudden? Let's see. They had no direct interactions inside the Galaxy games ever. Rosalina just referred to her as Mario's special one. Okay, so they said they also kind of just took Rosalina's story and placed it on Peach and made Rosalina's whole thing just being the sibling of Peach. Look, okay, from what I'm reading, I understand why people will be mad about it. Like I said, I just don't fucking know. So like, out of ignorance, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me. But you know, the game's the game. That's how it be sometimes. But I feel for y'all Mario fans. I feel for you. Well, I'm a Mario fan. You're not going to say I'm not just because I played one game. I like Mario. Mario fan. But I'm not as hardcore. I'm sorry. I would like to be. We'll get there someday. Welcome back, people that skipped to this timestamp. Let's talk about the mass fucking amount of references. I struggle to have an actual opinion on it, but there is a bazillion blink or you'll miss it moments. And a lot of characters that would probably, you would probably want to be important characters or just in the background or just some really small moments. Most of which, I'll be honest, I don't fucking know. I saw after the fact, like, oh, character here, just out of not knowing. But, I don't know, you can always chalk that up to like, okay, they aren't having plans for this character in this movie. Probably not for the next couple, because I'm sure they got the next couple planned somewhat, some rough idea of what's going to happen. So let's throw a little bone, whatever, I don't care. I did recognize the Pikmins, though, and I had to look up his name. But I recognize the Mr. Game & Watch silhouette, so Smash confirmed. In that case, I have a request. Give me Red, or Pokemon Trainer, next. I need Pokemon representation in a Hollywood movie not titled Detective Pikachu, please and thank you. But yeah, it doesn't take away from the movie exactly, but it does kind of feel like it's trying to distract you from how much there isn't to this film. Like, if we fill your brain with so many references, you will forget when looking back how little there actually is to this piece of cinema. Which I don't know if adding to the short runtime would have changed anything. I just think the fundamental core of this movie, its existence from the ground up, they had a vision and it clearly wasn't super ambitious. It was very much relying on the familiarity with the product, introducing more of that familiarity, expanding the world a bit, and banking on the fact that people recognize references and banking on just children's audience because that is the demographic of this film. But yeah, the oohs and the ahs. You would be hard pressed to find a scene after the first like 10 minutes that doesn't have one. Now don't get me wrong, I still had fun with this movie, and I don't think it's as bad as people are saying. Like I said, I do really adore these versions of the characters, so I do like seeing them. But when I take myself out of that positive thinking process and think the narrative evolution of the storytelling, the actual 3-act structure, I go, it's not good, and that's okay. The movie's still gonna make more $1 billion. They don't care about my opinion. And I'm never too mad when a movie like this isn't peak. I just enjoy it that much more when it is. This is just the level of movie I thought the first one was gonna be, then the first one was better than that, and this one was like, oh fuck, we messed up the first time, we made it a bit too good, here's what you were expecting. So not to be too harsh, because I did have fun, but yeah, it is a movie. Great for kids though. Go take your kids to watch it. Go do that. I will be showing my kids Daredevil or something, but I don't know. I also don't plan on having kids anytime soon, so I'm just saying words now. But yeah, not too much else to talk about. I definitely missed something, but I don't care. I'm already late to this review. I watched it opening night. It's already been a whole 6 days since then. It's 1:38 in the morning. I'm fucking tired. But I will end this off on a positive note saying I had a positive experience with the movie. Most of my problems are when I look deeper in retrospect. I don't like to refer to any movie as something to turn your brain off to. I treat everything with the same level of respect going into it, but if I had to give any movie that credence, I always mispronounce that word, it would be this one. I kind of turn my brain off when engaging with this. This is very much a popcorn movie, whatever you want to call it. And I'm always torn with this kind of thing because, like, yes, kids aren't going to give a fuck about the quality of it as a piece of literature. They see the jingling keys and like, let's fucking go. And that's fine. I think that's fine. I don't think kids' movies always have to be peak fiction, but I do also agree with the argument that kids movies can easily be Pulp Fiction, and like kids movies don't have to be ass just because they're kids movies. They can be really good. I definitely agree with that. But at the same time, this is just one that's like kids are gonna enjoy it. Let the kids have fun. I do think it could have been better, and I would have liked it to be better though. So there is some nuance to it, but I'm not trying to excuse a bad product. Still had fun though. Also, shout out to the guy I sat next to. When I bought my tickets to the movie, the whole thing was pretty much sold out except for like a spot next to someone. So I got that because it was a pretty good seat. I always go for the best seat in the house. I don't give a fuck about it to sit next to someone. And he was actually pretty nice. He even offered me some popcorn, which I declined because little did he know I had 2 big ass bowls of frozen zero sugar and a cherry and raspberry, 2 different bowls of Jello, sugar-free gelatin that I had prepared the morning of, and a zero sugar energy drink to wash it down in my bag. But thanks for offering the popcorn, Mr. Random Guy out there. I hope you're doing well. and he had a lot of fun with it. He's definitely a bigger Mario fan than me, and was giving me a lot of lore. We talked before and after the film, obviously not during. There's too many people in this world that talk during the fucking movies, man. This movie is one thing because it's a kids heavy movie, so I wasn't surprised when I hear kids saying some random shit out loud. I don't care about that, whatever. But if I'm watching like Interstellar and I hear some people yapping, I'm gonna be pissed. But I'm getting to the point where we just gotta end the video. I'm yapping. There's no more script left. I'm just saying words. So yeah, Mario movie. I don't think it is a good movie, but I did have a fun time watching it. Would I rewatch it? Probably not, unless like I'm going out of my way to watch them all for some reason, and it's like in the middle of the trilogy once we get the next movie. Sure, I don't know. But yeah, what did you think about it? Did you think it was good? Did you think it was bad? Did you think it was, enjoyable at least? I don't know, man. What were you thinking about it? I think there's a lot of mixed opinions on this. I do see it's majoritively negative, I think. But I don't know. I'm going to go to sleep. Goodbye. Subscribe.